Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So, today we're going to talk about Iranian sleeper cells in America. We're going to talk about potential attacks against American infrastructure and the Iranian plot to assassinate our president. But before we get to all of that, I want to thank all of you who sat through my heartbreak video and responded with kind words, and who sent me birthday wishes and sent me birthday money. I appreciate that so much. It made a huge difference. But honestly, making the video was cathartic for me because I have no one to talk to. And I was able to just unburden myself and let my emotions out. And I came out on the other side feeling a whole lot better. Like that was much needed. My creativity has returned and I'm back in the saddle again. So thanks to all of you who do support the channel with your fine and loving gifts. Uh, the money that you send keeps the channel running, allows me to spend the time I need to keep producing these videos and keep getting them out to you week in, week out for more than 9 years now. And if you'd like to become a financial contributor and help keep this channel on the air, there are links in the description below to Cash App and to PayPal and to my post office box. So you guys keep the lights on here in my cabin with your kind donations, and thank you so much for the support that you give me. And looking forward to another decade together. Okay, so unless you've been under a rock somewhere, and some of us live under rocks, the United States and Israel joined together to unleash holy hell on the nation of Iran in an operation called Epic Fury. And this triggered, obviously, a reaction from the Iranians. And they've been shooting missiles and sending out drones against nearly every neighboring nation since then. There's been attacks in Qatar. There's been attacks in Budai by the Iranians. There's been attacks in Kuwait. And, obviously they've been attacking Israel and United States bases all around the region. Right now, we have three deaths that are being reported of U.S. servicemen, with dozens injured in these events, which is pretty low. I think, as the president says, the number will go up. But something you may not be aware of is the three people that were killed because of this in Austin, Texas. 3 killed and 14 injured. And the reason you haven't heard about it is because I think it was characterized at first. Maybe they jumped to conclusions. Maybe they were trying to cover up the true nature of this attack in Austin on 6th Street this weekend. But it was kind of presented at first as a drive-by shooting. Well, I guess technically it was a drive-by shooting since he drove by and did the shooting. But it was portrayed kind of as regular crime or gang-related, but what it turned out to be was a Muslim man living in America who was sympathetic to Iran and did this as a retaliatory strike on behalf of Iran. And actually, he killed as many people as the whole Iranian army, right? He just did his killing on the streets of Austin, where we are much more vulnerable. And so this individual, wearing a Property of Allah sweatshirt with a t-shirt underneath it that portrayed the flag of Iran, and a Koran was found in his car. He drove by with both a rifle and a pistol, and he shot up the patio area and the front area where people were gathering in front of an Austin 6th Street nightclub. And he was quickly run down by police and killed in the street. But this is symptomatic of something that we can probably expect more of in retaliation for these massive strikes against Iran by the United States and Israel. And, I've talked about this before. It's linear warfare. They don't rely just on their army because, according to our own government, more than 18,000 radical Islamicists with ties to terrorism have made it into our country over the past 4 or 5 years, completely unaccounted for, allowed to enter into the country and disappear. And it's unfortunate that they're already here. There's nothing we can do about it. And this is the exact kind of attack that we were warned by Iran, that if we did this thing that we just did, that they would unleash sleeper terror cells that are present and have been planning attacks already, and all they need is the go word. And if you listen to the right sources, the go word went out. These attacks resulted in the killing, the death of Iran's supreme leader, the religious leader, not the president. The supreme leader, the president typically has to ask permission and guidance from. And he's been in power, I think, for 30 years. And he is now deceased. And Iran has recognized that their supreme leader was killed in these attacks, and they're in the process of selecting another one over the next few days. I don't know what impact this attack against the leadership really has. You know, for every leader, there's 10 standing in line waiting their turn right behind them of the exact same ilk. And the one thing that did come from this is that these attacks by Israel and the United States have decimated and destroyed the Iranian Navy. And proxy groups have been activated in Yemen and in Lebanon. And the Hezbollah in Lebanon started sending rocket attacks over the line into Israel, into northern Israel. And that's not uncommon. That's on again, off again for decades. But then the Israeli IDF jets did a airstrike on a southern Lebanon neighborhood, I guess targeting Hezbollah leaders. And so in times past, we've seen Iran and Israel trade shots. We've seen civil war in Syria. You know, we walked away and left a world-class arsenal behind for the Taliban in Afghanistan. But this is the very first time I can think of where the war against Iran or any other Islamic state spread into all of these other countries. Countries like Qatar, countries like the United Arab Emirates, countries like Kuwait, where we have strong American interests there. We are invested in those nations, and they've all experienced one form or another of retaliatory strikes for the attacks against Iran. And for instance, in Kuwait, 3 American jets were shot down by the Kuwaiti armed forces because they were mistaken for Iranian jets. The 4 individuals were able to escape through, ejecting from their aircraft and were recovered safely. But do you know how much one of those American fighter jets cost? If it's up to me, the Kuwaiti government would be getting a bill, because them folks got some money down there, right? they got a little. They can afford to pay us back for their stupid mistake. I can tell you this: if I accidentally misidentified something and destroyed it as a citizen of the United States, I'd be held at least financially culpable. At least I would be held responsible financially. So that's friendly fire is never a good thing. But we've really not taken into consideration the potential for sleeper cells throughout our nation to awaken. There could be potentially ambush shootings like the one we saw in Austin over the weekend. There could be school attacks, synagogues, churches, government buildings, soft targets for sure, shopping centers and restaurants and bars. And so, I'm giving you a tip that I would probably lay low for at least a few weeks, because this could happen again tomorrow. It could happen again this weekend. It might be a month from now. But take this as a confident prediction from somebody who has a good track record for predicting these sort of things, that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how bad and how long it will take. And so, keep your head on a swivel, keep your eyes wide open. If you're the kind of folk that carries a firearm, don't leave it at home, and be careful when gathering in crowds. If you are a part of church security, I would step it up. I would have a church security meeting before the Sunday services this week and make sure that everybody's powder's dry, and everybody knows what the other one is doing, so that you can be at your highest level of vigilance, because retaliation is coming. Some of these attacks from Iran have been quite effective. You know, drone attacks have taken out infrastructure, and I can't recall whether it was. I think it was Qatar, who ceased their production of liquefied natural gas for the first time in 30 years because of these infrastructure attacks. There's also attacks against wireless phone systems and internet sites, both physical attacks from drones in the Middle East, and also cyber attacks. And I think this is the beginning of something much bigger. I don't know, once this was done, how you come back from it. And if you recall, if you're a fan of the channel, you know that I've talked a lot in the past about a many-year-old AI produced video by and released by the government of Iran, showing in detail how they could launch a drone and drop a tracked assault vehicle that was autonomous and pre-programmed to then sneak up, something the size of a Tonka truck, right? A little bitty, like a kid's toy sized assault vehicle, armed with a basically a small missile, or machine guns, right? Could then be dropped, say, at the Mar-a-Lago compound from way up high by a drone or some kind of other vehicle. And if you think our airspace is safe, let me remind you of the New Jersey drone activity, where these vehicles that no one could identify or find the source of were just everywhere for months and months. So the idea that some individual could launch a drone from the United States, one of these sleeper cells potentially, and use that to drop a ground track vehicle that can then sneak up on the golf course and take Donald Trump out. That this is a video that the Iranians produced and released, tipping their hand, because they knew they knew that Donald Trump has wanted to take out the Iranian leadership. He's bragged about the ones he's hit in the past. He's threatened them by sending them pictures of their location via text message to let them know he knew where to point it. If he wanted to pull the trigger, he could. And so, in response to that attitude and previous action, the Iranians released this video kind of saying, hey, we could get you too, and this is how we might do it. So I fully expect over the course of the next couple of months or longer that there will be an uptick, and there will be numerous sleeper cell or lone wolf attacks like the one we saw in Austin on the peaceful people of the United States in retaliation for this attack on the nation of Iran. And I also predict that some attempt will be made by the Iranians to assassinate our president. Things are heating up. I don't know whether there's a back button, there's an undo button. Can we go back to the way it was before? Mr. Trump, our president, and his cabinet, and some senators and congressmen think that now this attack on Iran was so bad that they're going to just knuckle under to the United States, come back to the table, agree to stop ever trying to build a nuclear weapon again, and return to the days of the Shah. Prior to 1979, Iran was a Western nation where women sought degrees and dressed in Western clothes, and were business owners and job holders. And a lot of people vacationed in Tehran. If you go back far enough, you'll find that that destination was something that they would give away in a game show if you won a trip. Right? But in 1979, that all changed when an authoritative, religious-based government came out of a college-age student rebellion and sacking of the Shah of Iran and the government there and the takeover. And since then, they've been a giant experiment in Sharia law and in Muslim rule. And not defending them in any way. These people are not our friends. But if you think you can hit a country like Iran, filled with radicals who've been putting people into our nation for years through our porous southern border, then you'd be foolish to think that there won't be some terrorist attacks in the United States. And just today, Governor Abbott of Texas, in reference to this recent event, said, "Get ready, there's more coming." How could there not be? This is going to happen again, and we all need to be vigilant. And he urged law enforcement to be on the top of their game. And I would just say, keep your eyes peeled because you ain't seen nothing yet. So, not trying to scare you, just sharing with you what I have discovered in the last few days researching this, that this war is coming to America, whether we like it or not. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Are they going to try to take out Trump? Are we going to experience the kind of terrorism that happened in the Irish Revolution, and if you remember back in the war in Ireland for their independence in Northern Ireland, that there was a bombing in London or in Dublin or in Edinburgh, right? Or, all over the United Kingdom were these terrorist bombings, car bombings, mass shootings, and it was a part of the news story in my early childhood listening to this take place. And there's enough of these insurgents that have been dumped into the United States through our southern border that it's just a matter of time. It's not if it's going to happen again, but when and how bad. Tell me what you think. Am I fear mongering or am I telling it like it is? Leave your comments in the comments section. Hey, don't forget to like these videos. Every time you like these videos, it expands my reach. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and become a subscriber. Hit the bell notification so you get updates. And on top of that, since all of that sometimes doesn't work, just type in Sage Wanderer and click on my face and come by and see if you've missed a video or not. Just check it out. And if you're hungry for more videos, I got 9 years, not 9.5 years, not yet, 9 years of videos in my archive. Over 1,200 videos in my archive. So you can find something there that can be entertaining or informative. We'll see you next time from my cabin down by the creek.